It's Entertainment Schmig.
When Roots came out in 1978, is that correct?
That's about right.
It was the biggest thing.
I watched it.
I was 10 years old. I remember it just being huge. And the ratings were huge. It still goes down as one of the most watched television events ever.
That's when I discovered my love for LeVar Burton.
LeVar was your guy?
Mm-hmm.
I liked
Ben Vereen?
Ben Vereen, yes.
Yeah, Lou Gossett?
Lou Gossett.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Good Times Dad.
James
John?
Arness. John Arness.
John Arness.
Amos.
John Amos. John Arness.
James Arness is the
He's the
Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke.
Yes.
I liked him so much, I never got to know his name. But it opened with 28 million viewers when it started.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
big.
concluded with around 37 million. You're not going to get viewers like that anymore. But it was
That's interesting because if you missed the first, they didn't have repeats.
No.
True.
You're
How did
not
it grow?
recording it.
Right. They didn't repeat it on the air, and you couldn't record it. Well, you could have recorded it, I think.
I guess you just hopped in.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it started the mini-series craze of the 70s and 80s, North and South, Rich Man, Poor Man, the
Winds of War.
The Thornbirds. I didn't watch Winds of War.
Thornburg's with Richard Chamberlain.
Yes.
Yep.
So Roots debuted on Monday night, had a lot of competition. The NBA game, I think, brought in something like 16 million viewers, but it had 5.5 million viewers. It makes it the most watched miniseries on cable.
Yes.
And they're going to look at the DVR numbers because really that's what they're hoping for, people rewatching it. And they started it early enough, and they're hoping for Emmy nominations. I have not watched it, but that's a nice thing. We can jump in on this on...
Wait a minute. They can tell when we tape something?
I think so.
They can?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called like DVR plus 7 or something like that. There's a rating where they factor in how many people watch it live and then how many people watch it over the course of the next 3 or 7 days on DVR.
What, are you embarrassed? What's something you watched recently that you would be embarrassed for anybody to see? You can't even think of anything.
Nope.
All right, so we always hear about, we don't always hear, but you hear about big fights between directors and actors. You know, Kevin Smith famously
with
talked
Bruce
about
Willis.
Bruce Willis
Yes.
in his book, that it was like the most soul-crushing moment of his life because he was a huge Bruce Willis fan, and it ruined it for him because he was just there to get a paycheck. And he had to change all these shots to make him happy. Well, now the director of a little tiny movie that you probably haven't even seen, I've seen it, Begin Again, with Keira Knightley, Adam Levine. The director's talking about how Keira Knightley was a real problem. He was doing interviews for some musical that he has coming out. And he started off the whole interview by this. It's a small personal movie with no Keira Knightleys in it.
No.
Like, nobody even asked him about Keira Knightley. He just brought
threw it
her
out
up.
there, yeah.
Man.
He said, I learned I'll never make a film with supermodels again. She's an actress.
Yeah.
I like working with actors. And
I think that was a slam.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I want to come back to enjoy filmmaking again. Not that I didn't enjoy Begin Again, but she has an entourage that follow her everywhere, hard to get any work done. And then he just goes on and bashes her. She seems like not a person that would be full of herself to me.
Yeah, and the entourage thing's a little surprising because I've always heard she's super frugal.
Yeah, and I heard also from another director said the only entourage I remember from the film I did with her was her mom. That's it. So I don't know. But then they start talking about all these other people that had problems, like Adrian, Lyne, and Kim Basinger when they did 9.5 Weeks. He basically said she was dumb. She's a bit like a child and innocent. That's part
Which
of
one?
Kim Basinger. What?
No, go ahead.
Oh, she's an instinctive actress, not an intellectual. She doesn't read books. She doesn't actually act. She reacts. And then
Nice.
also Christian Bale, he was hated on the set, or not Christian Bale, Val Kilmer was hated on the set of Batman Forever.
I remember that.
I don't remember that.
I do.
I do. That's why they didn't have him back to do it.
And he's apparently been a problem in other movies too. All right,
Now all we see is pictures of him looking gigantic on a
Yeah.
beach.
Actually, hasn't he gotten really
I
gaunt?
think he lost weight.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
there
he
was,
has.
like,
He
health
has. I
issues
think you saw
scares
those
and
pictures too, but they still surface. celebrities that blew up. You know, I mean, I always click on that stuff.
I do too. Child stars that are hideous now.
I know, right?
Well, who's that?
I love the word hideous.
All right, let's talk about Kelly Ripa. I know you've been waiting, guy.
Yes.
They're talking about her possibly getting a female host. This is from Us Weekly, so we don't know if this is true. And
Do you know why this matters to me?
Because it doesn't.
Because it doesn't. Because I don't watch the show.
They're talking about either Wanda Sykes or Sherry Shepherd. I think Sherry Shepherd's being named just because she said she wants to do it.
You know why she wants to do it? Because she can get free stuff.
Well, yeah, she doesn't have a gig right now. All right, now the story about the guy that we don't know that murdered his wife. It's an awful story. He killed his wife in 2014. He's going to be sentenced on June 10th.
Well, what's his
but
name?
He was found guilty just yesterday. Michael Jace. He was on The Shield.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
He's 53 years old.
Skinny black guy?
Yeah, he played a police officer in that show.
He was upset that on The Shield, really?
Yeah, he was a uniformed
I know, I'm
officer.
just kidding.
I know, but he was like one of the uniformed cops on that show.
He was upset his wife wanted a divorce. He was suspicious she was having an affair. They have 2 young kids who were home when the shooting occurred, and they have been taken in by relatives. But the sentencing, again, will happen on June 10th. He faces 40 years in prison.
He should.
And
Shot her in the back.
it's an awful story.
It's terrible.
I don't know who he is, though. But Real Housewives, real quick. I teased it. I have to do it. You know, all the problems that Teresa and Joe Giudice have had with her going to prison. He's now in prison. Well, they just were hit with a tax lien for $238,000 for unpaid taxes.
Ouchie.
Holy cow.
Yeah. She says she's trying to, redo her life and is going to follow the law. She says there's a payment plan set up, but $238,000 they owe.
Call one of those guys that we hear on the radio.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Seems like it's so easy to, get into debt with the government and get out of it.
To negotiate with the IRS.
right.
IRS debt will reduce it by 90%. Cool.
All right, that's Entertainment Schmig. Another Schmig at 8:40 on Y98.
With the ever